Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first episode of Reading with Rex. This is a series where we're going to be reading assorted Pokemon books over the next few weeks. If you want to see more, make sure you go and follow the Professor's Lab over on Twitch so you can see them live, or hit subscribe on Rex Reads here on YouTube. Anyways, either way, let's get right into it. Will Pikachu ever trust Ash? Pokemon, I Choose You. By Tracy West. Now, on the first page, we have the Pokemon theme song. I know you guys all know that, so we're not going to need to worry about it. But here we are. Pokemon, I Choose You. Adapted by Tracy West. We had a cool map of Kanto. If you purchase this book without a cover, you should be aware that this book is stolen property. What? Well, luckily it's with a book. Okay. Chapter 1. I am Ash. And Nidorino begins the battle with a horn attack. Oh, but Gengar bounces right back. The TV announcer blared the details of the Pokemon fight. What is going on here? Why is the lighting changing? The two creatures were battling in a Pokemon gym. Gengar was a mean-looking ghost Pokemon with glowing red eyes. Nidorino was a tough-looking poison-type Pokemon with a sharp horn in its forehead. Ah, there it is, the hypnosis power of Gengar! Gengar clapped its hands together. Pulsing waves flowed from its hands and surrounded Nidorino. Nidorino swayed, captivated by the hypnosis power. It fell to the ground with a thud. This could be the end of Nidorino. A tall man stepped out onto the gym floor. He held out a red and white ball, the size of an orange. A Pokeball. The ball opened and Nidorino disappeared into the ball with a flash of light. Wait, here comes Nidorino's trainer. He's recalling Nidorino. Now he can send out another Pokemon to battle Gengar. That feels like it was backwards. Now the Pokemon trainer held a new Pokeball. With a great thrust, he threw the ball into the ring. Which Pokemon will he use now? The Pokemon battle raged on. Ash Ketchum watched the fight on his bedroom TV. Someday, he would be on TV, showing the world that he was a great Pokemon trainer. Someday soon. Now that Ash was 10, he could get his Pokemon license. He could travel around capturing all different types of Pokemon, 150 in all. He could use his Pokemon in battle against other Pokemon. Ash grabbed a toy Pokeball and held it above his head. I am Ash, he cried. I will journey to gain the wisdom of Pokemon training. I hereby declare to the Pokemon of the world, I will be a Pokemon master. I will be the greatest. Ash gets a bed. Ash's mom stood in the doorway. She shook her head. It's 11 o'clock and you should be asleep. But tomorrow I leave Pallet Town and start my Pokemon journey, Ash protested. I can't sleep. Miss Ketchum sighed. If you can't sleep, then you should at least get ready for tomorrow. Here, watch this. She changed the TV channel. And don't forget to put on your pajamas, she called out as she left the room. A gray-haired man in a lab coat was on the screen. Ash knew him. It was Professor Oak, the world's ultimate authority on Pokemon. His lab was just down the road. Good evening, Pallet, Professor Oak said. Tomorrow is the big day for the newest class of Pokémon students. The professor pointed to 3 posters on the wall. Each one showed a Pokémon. I'd like to introduce you to Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Each one is available for new trainees. Which one will you choose? Ash turned off the TV. He had the same posters on the wall of his room. Every Pokemon trainer got to pick one of these 3 Pokemon before he or she started on his or her journey. Ash had thought for weeks about which one he would choose, but he still hadn't made a decision. As Ash put on his pajamas, he looked out at the poster of Bulbasaur on his wall. Ash thought it looked kind of like a dinosaur with a big green flower bulb on its back. Bulbasaur is perfect for beginners. I choose you, Bulbasaur. But then there was Squirtle. Squirtle looked like a cute turtle, but Ash knew its water powers could be really strong. I choose you, Squirtle. But what about Charmander? A fire Pokemon with a flaming tail. Imagine what he could do with that kind of power. Ash climbed into bed, but he was too excited to sleep. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. Ash tossed and turned. In his dreams, he imagined throwing a Pokeball and releasing each one into battle. They were all amazing in their own way. Bulbasaur, Squirtle, Charmander. How could Ash choose? Chapter 2. A shocking start. Cock-a-doodle-doo! The rooster's crow roused Ash from his sleep. He rubbed his eyes and looked out the window. The sun was already high in the sky. Oh no, Ash cried. I'm late. He leaped out of bed and ran out of the house. Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander, any one of them is fine. Just save one for me. Ash thought as he sped down the road. Breathless, Ash finally saw Professor Oak's lab up ahead. A long row of steps led up a hill to the big white building at the bottom of the hill. What the fuck? Wait. What? A long row of steps led up a hill to the big white building. Oh, never mind. At the bottom of the hill, a large crowd had formed. Gary, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can, a group of leaders called out. Gary mother-freaking Oak. Amazing. I've already missed it, Ash thought. He ran through the crowd, accidentally knocking down the cheerleaders. Hey, watch where you're going, said an angry voice. Ash looked up. He had bumped into Gary, another kid his age and Ash's biggest rival. He was holding a red and white Pokeball. Sorry, Gary, Ash muttered. That's Mr. Gary to you. Show some respect, Gary replied. Well, Ash, you snooze, you lose. I've got a Pokemon, and you don't. Ash couldn't believe it. You got your first Pokemon? That's right, loser. And it's right inside this Pokeball, Gary said, sneering. And it's the best one. It helps to have a grandfather in the Pokemon business. The crowd cheered again. Gary waved and set off on his journey. Ash's heart sank. Since Professor Oak was Gary's grandfather, he probably did get the best Pokemon. How could I let a bully like Gary beat me, Ash thought. I've just gotta get one. Ash ran up the stairs, right into Professor Oak. So you decided to show up after all, the professor said. Are you sure you're ready? Of course I'm ready, Ash said. Professor Oak looked Ash up and down. You look like you're ready for bed, not for Pokemon training. Ash cringed. He was still in his pajamas. Oh, that silly guy. He had been in such a hurry, he'd forgotten to change his clothes. Blushing, Ash replied, I just got messed up this morning. I was a little late, but believe me, I am ready for a Pokémon. Ash followed Professor Oak up the steps and into the lab. The large room was filled with shiny silver machines. In the center of the room was a silver table with a glass dome on top. 3 Pokeballs sat underneath the dome. Ash began to get excited. He was finally going to get a Pokemon. Professor Oak pushed a button and the dome opened up. Ash turned to Professor Oak. "I've thought about it a lot, but I'm not sure which one to choose," Ash said. L plus ratio plus you fell off, plus you're still in your pajamas. Professor Oak opened up the Pokeballs. They were all empty. "I'm afraid you don't have a choice," he said. "These Pokemon were all taken by trainers who are on time." Ash was devastated. "Does this mean I don't get a Pokemon?" Professor Oak hesitated. "There is one left, but I'm not sure. There's a problem with the last one." "I don't care. I'll take it," Ash pleaded. The professor pushed a button on the table. A small circular plate in the table's center slid open, and the Pokeball emerged. The professor handed the ball to Ash. "Here's your Pokemon, Ash." Ash held the Pokeball in his hands. A real-life Pokeball. The ball opened up. Bright flashes of yellow electricity filled the room. When the light stopped, a Pokemon sat on the table in front of him. "Pikachu!" said the Pokemon. Ash was thrilled. The Pokemon was about a foot tall, bright yellow with brown stripes on its back. It had pointy ears, red circles on its cheeks, and, best of all, a tail shaped like a lightning bolt. "That's its name. Pikachu," said the professor. "It's so cute," Ash said. "It's the very best one." The professor smiled nervously. "Yes, Ash, you'll see." Ash reached down to pick up the Pokemon. "Hi, Pika!" A jolt of electricity surged through his body. Pikachu was shocking him. "Pikachu is a lightning mouse," said the professor. "It's usually shy, but it can sometimes have an electric personality." And then he has a picture of Ash getting shocked by Pikachu. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that one, but it's a pretty good picture, okay? "I see what you mean," Ash said. Still, smarting from Pikachu's charge. Professor Oak held out his hands. In one hand was a small red electronic device. In the other were 6 empty Pokeballs. "This is your Pokédex, Dexter," the professor said. He gave Ash the handheld device. It is voice activated and can answer all of your questions about Pokemon. It's also your ID and can't be replaced, so don't lose it. Professor Oak handed Ash the Pokeballs. "Use these Pokeballs to capture new Pokemon." "Thanks, Professor Oak," Ash said. "It's time to begin your journey, Ash." Ash picked up Pikachu and followed Professor Oak outside. I don't think Dexter can answer that one. The crowd was still gathered at the bottom of the stairs, banging on instruments and cheering. This time, they were chanting Ash's name. Ash's mom stepped out front of the crowd. "I'm so proud of you," she said, hugging Ash. Hugging Ash. She handed Ash a knapsack. "I've packed everything. Clothes, clean underwear, your favorite snacks, a clothesline, rubber gloves to do your laundry." Ash blushed. "Mom, you're embarrassing me in front of all of these people." "Listen to your mother. Those Rubber gloves she packed will come in handy, the professor said. Why? Ash asked. Well, rubber blocks electricity, Professor Oak explained. Ash fished the rubber gloves out of his knapsack. With a Pokemon like Pikachu, he was going to need all the help he could get. We're making decent This is a big book. In Chapter 3. Spearow Attack. Wait, is this book too long? Oh. I think we're going to have to break this book into 2 halves. It's 85 pages long. We'll get through the first half of the book, and then we'll all go to bed, and we'll read it next time. Chapter 3. Spearow Attack. Pikachu, are you gonna be like this the whole way? Ash asked. Key, replied Pikachu, stubbornly. Ash had left Pallet Town and was on his way to Viridian City. On my way to Viridian City. Before he had left, he had changed from his pajamas to jeans and his favorite blue and white shirt. A baseball cap sat on his messy, dark hair. He had tied the clothesline around Pikachu's waist and was dragging the Pokemon down the road. But Pikachu didn't really want to go anywhere with him. Oh, this is the first episode. Like, this was written in 1998, if you can see that. Yeah. This is an old book. It's story time. Yeah, we're reading the book. Pikachu, why don't you just open your mouth and tell me what's wrong? Why don't you just open your mouth and tell me what's wrong? Ash asked. Pikachu opened its mouth wide. That's not what I meant. Is your name all you can say? Ash asked. Pika. What the fuck? Ash is just asking Pikachu to talk. Like, hello? You've never interacted with a Pokemon in your life? Okay. Well, then you should act like other Pokemon and get inside your goddamn Pokeball, just like it says in the Pokedex, Ash said. He flipped open the device. A mechanical voice spoke. While being trained, a Pokemon usually stays inside its Pokeball. However, there are many exceptions. Some Pokemon hate being confined. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a very good Dexter voice. Oh, Ash said. He'd never heard that before. Ash reached down and untied Pikachu. This should make things better, he said. How's that? Pika. Pikachu still didn't look happy. Ash was about ready to give up when he heard a sound behind him. He turned. It was a wild Pokemon. It looked like a bird with brown and white feathers. A Pidgey, Ash cried. Pidgey is a flying Pokemon. It is easy to capture. A perfect target for beginner trainers, said Dexter, the Pokédex. Ash was thrilled. Go get it, Pikachu, he cried. Chew. Pikachu turned away its head. Aren't you ever gonna listen to me? Ash asked. Chew. Ash was starting to get mad. Of all the Pokemon in the world, he had to get one that didn't like him. Why won't you help me? He pleaded. Pikachu hopped into a tree branch and began to chirp like a bird. Pika, 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 pika. Then Pikachu started laughing. Ash knew it was mocking him. I get the message. I don't need your help. I can get that thing all by myself. Ash pulled a Pokeball from his knapsack. He faced Pidgey. Enjoy your last moments of freedom, Pidgey. You're mine. Ash threw the ball at Pidgey. Pokeball, go! He yelled. The ball flew through the air. It hit Pidgey, then opened up. A flash of red light burst from the ball, and Pidgey disappeared. The ball closed. Ash cheered. I did it! Suddenly, the ball began to shake. It opened up again. Pidgey escaped in a blaze of white light. Ash couldn't believe it. Pika ha 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 ha! Pikachu was laughing on its tree branch. The Pokédex spoke. To capture Pokémon, you usually have to... What does Dexter sound like? The fire Pokémon. To capture a Pokémon, you usually have your own Pokémon battle with the other Pokémon. But it's not fair, Ash said. My own Pokémon won't even help me. Why is Ash the same kid as John Mulaney's impression of a young John Mulaney with a heavy New York accent? Because I'm terrible at accents, and it's going to be different pretty much every time I do any voice. Oh, Vitum's getting into some deep lore. Yes, it's true. Samson Oak, as a young lad, did in fact meet Ash when he was just a young boy during the Celebi movie. What's that one called? Pokemon Forever. Anyways, that's like, it's time travel stuff. We'll get into that later. That's like future lore. Oh shit, Ash, this is where Ash pulls out the Safari Zone mechanics. Ash wasn't about to give up. He picked up a rock and looked around. Not far away was a flock of Pidgey just waiting to be captured. Ash threw the rock. It landed on the ground, scattering Pidgey. Quickly, Ash spotted another flying Pokemon. He picked up another rock. I'll get you this time, Ash yelled. He did it. The rock tapped the Pokemon right on the head. The Pokemon turned around and looked at Ash angrily. This was no Pidgey. Ash knew. This one had a long, curved beak. It looked mean. I wonder what that is, Ash asked nervously. Unlike Pidgey, Spearow has a terrible temper, Dexter said. It is very wild and will sometimes attack other Pokemon. Ash didn't have time to react to the news, because Spearow was in the air and it was flying right at Pikachu. Hey, leave Pikachu alone. It didn't throw the rock, Ash yelled. Wild Pokemon tend to be jealous of human-trained Pokemon, explained the Pokédex. Spearow swooped down on Pikachu. Pikachu lost its footing and slipped off the tree branch. Just in time, it grabbed the branch with its hand. Pikachu! Screamed Pikachu in fear. Spearow flew directly at Pikachu. Ash watched helplessly from the ground. Suddenly, Pikachu let off an electric shock. Bright light crackled in the air. The shock sent Spearow flying backwards. You got it, Ash cried. He reached out and pulled Pikachu towards him. Spearow! A strange cry filled the air. In the distance, Ash saw a whole flock of Spearow. The flying Pokemon were speeding towards them. Ash and Pikachu ran down the road. Pikachu scurried ahead. The Spearow were closing in. Ash watched in horror as 3 Spearows swooped down and grabbed at Pikachu with their sharp beaks. Ash charged ahead and picked up Pikachu. The Spearows seemed to be everywhere. They pecked at Ash's head and arms. Ash ran and ran with Pikachu on his back. His heart was pounding. How could they escape? Ash looked ahead. His heart sank. The road ended in a steep cliff. They were trapped. Ash skidded to a stop at the cliff's edge. He looked down. Below him was a roaring waterfall that led into a swift river. He looked behind him. The sky was filled with screeching Spearow. Ash took a deep breath. He had no choice. "Here we go, Pikachu," he yelled. Ash closed his eyes, held Pikachu tightly, and plunged into the raging waterfall. Number 4, or chapter 4, Thunder Shock. Ash's stomach plunged as the waterfall carried him and Pikachu down into the water. When they hit the surface of the river, the force of the waterfall sent them spiraling into the water's depths. "I've got to swim to the surface," Ash thought frantically. Ash kicked with all his might. He pushed through the water with one hand and held Pikachu in the other. He thought his lungs would burst. Suddenly, he felt someone pull on his shirt collar. He was being yanked out of the water. Ash slammed onto the shore, gasping for air. He opened his eyes. A red-haired girl with a fishing pole was staring at them. "I thought I caught a fish," the girl said. Wait, I gotta get a Misty voice. What does Misty sound like? "But it looks like I got a kid." Fuck. "I thought I caught a fish," the girl said. "But it looks like I caught a kid and a Pokémon." "I'm Misty. Are you okay?" Yeah, I was gonna say Misty sounds like a cat. Ash spit water out of his mouth. I think so," he said. Misty scowled. "Not you, ya Pokémon. Look what you've done. Is it even breathing?" Ash glanced at Pikachu. Its eyes were closed, and it wasn't moving. "I'm not sure," Ash said weakly. "Well, don't just sit there. It needs a doctor right away." "Is anybody here a doctor?" Misty said. "There's a medical center for Pokemon nearby." Flap, 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 flap. Panic. Ash's eyes scanned the sky. The Spearow had found them, and they were bearing down fast. "They're coming back," Ash yelled. There was a red bike propped up nearby. Ash put Pikachu in the bike basket and hopped onto the seat. "Hey, that's my bike!" Misty cried. Ash began pedaling down the road. "I need to borrow it, but I'll bring it back someday," he called back. Ash pedaled furiously. Black storm clouds gathered low in the sky overhead. Thunder rumbled in the distance, but it couldn't mask the sound of the Spearow. They were getting closer. "Spearow! Spearow!" "Hang on, Pikachu. We're almost there." Ash tried to reassure the Pokémon, but he was afraid. The Spearow were all around. Suddenly, Ash felt the ground give way beneath him. They were flying over a ridge. The wheels hit the road below, but Ash lost control. Speaking of Spearow, look, there it is. That's what's happening. The Spearows, they're attacking Ash. What are they doing? Oh my god. Ash, save Pikachu. Suddenly, Ash felt the ground give way beneath him. They were flying over a ridge. The wheels hit the road below, but Ash lost control. He watched as Pikachu flew out of the basket and landed a few feet away. A bolt of lightning flashed in the sky. Raindrops pelted Ash's body. The sky was filled with attacking Spearow. They swooped and lunged at him and Pikachu, getting closer each time. "Pikachu, I have to protect it." That was Ash's only thought. Ash took a Pokeball out of his knapsack and ran into Pikachu's motionless body. "Pikachu, you gotta get inside the ball. Maybe I can save you. Please, just trust me," Ash pleaded. "Chew," Pikachu said. Ash saw that Pikachu was too weak to move. It's up to me now, Ash realized. He stood up and faced the attacking Spearow. Spearow, do you know who I am? Ash yelled. I'm Ash from the town of Pallet. I can't be defeated by the likes of you. I'm going to capture you all. Do you hear me? Yoko, good night. Thank you so much for the raid. Everybody who's dropped in from the raid, welcome. My name is Professor Rex. We're currently reading Pokemon I Choose You by Tracy West. If you want to stick around, feel free. Behind him, Pikachu opened its eyes. Pikachu, get inside the Pokeball, Ash said softly. An ear-splitting thunderclap roared. A bright flash of lightning pierced the sky. The Spearow paused in midair, then aimed their beaks at Ash. Ash stood firm. He wasn't running away. Come and get me, Ash yelled. The Spearow charged Ash. From the corner of his eye, Ash saw something fly past him. Pikachu! Pikachu was jumping between Ash and the Spearow. No! A clap of thunder drowned out Ash's cry. Time seemed to stand still as a lightning bolt illuminated the air.
Who's that Pokémon?
Pikachu jumped right into the lightning bolt. Pikachu's body glowed with electricity as it bonded with the lightning. The impact created a huge explosion. A thunder shock. That's what Pikachu does. He does the thunder shock. I think that's even in the back of the book here. Oh no, okay. Book 1 in the brand new Pokemon series based off the popular Pokemon TV anime. We're reading Pokemon I Choose You. Chapter 5. Pokemon Emergency. A blazing ball of white light lit up the sky. Ash was thrown backward by the blast. He was stunned. The blast was bigger than lightning, bigger than fireworks. He couldn't believe it. Ash looked beside him. Pikachu was lying next to him. Dead. Oh my god. Above them, the clouds disappeared. The sun shone in the blue sky. There were no Spearow to be seen. Pikachu had given its life to save Ash. We beat them, Ash said, exhausted. But then Pikachu wasn't even dead. He was actually alive the whole time. Choo. Pikachu replied. Pikachu was alive, but it looked hurt. Really hurt. Ash knew his troubles weren't over yet. Yeah, where the Spearow go? Where did the Spearow go? What happened to it? Ash knew his troubles weren't over yet. He had to get Pikachu to the Pokemon Center before it was too late. Ash looked at Misty's bike. The metal was charred and black from the explosion. They'd have to go on foot. Down the road, Ash could see the buildings of Viridian City. He could make it, but he'd have to hurry. Ash ran with Pikachu in his arms. The trees on the roadside grew farther and farther apart. A paved road lay ahead of them. They had made it. As they got closer, the sound of a siren wailed in the air. Whoa, whoa. Attention, citizens of Viridian City, blared a voice from a loudspeaker. We have reports of possible Pokemon thieves in the area. Be on the lookout for suspicious-looking strangers. Pokemon thieves? That sounds dangerous, Ash thought. But he didn't have time to stop. Pikachu needed help. Fast. Ash ran down the streets of Viridian City. A large dome-shaped building with a red P on the front loomed before him. The Pokemon Center, Ash cried. It's gigantic. Ash charged through the front doors. "Please help my Pikachu," Ash told the nurse behind the desk. The nurse took one look at Pikachu and began typing into a computer. "I need a stretcher for a small electric Pokémon. Stat!" she ordered. The emergency room door opened and 2 chubby pink Pokémon wearing nurses' caps emerged, wheeling a stretcher. Which one are those Pokémon? Maybe it's this one. Is it that? Maybe it's that Pokémon. Oh. The nurse took Pikachu from Ash's arms and put it on the stretcher. Poor Pikachu looked so hurt. Ash could barely watch as the Pokemon nurses wheeled it away. The nurse put a hand on his shoulder. Her red hair was tied up into 2 ponytails, and Ash thought she had a sweet face. "It'll be okay. We'll take good care of it. Chansey Pokemon are very good nurses. I'm Joy. Who are you?" "I'm Ash," she said, "Pikachu's trainer." Joy's expression clouded. "I hope you're more responsible in the future, Ash. You should never let a Pokemon battle when it's in this condition." Ash stared at the floor. He knew Joy was right. Joy stepped between 2 sliding metal doors. "Ash, you'll have to go to the waiting room," she said. "But I want to," Ash started, but the doors closed in front of him. Unfortunate, because Nurse Joy is the type that you love to watch walk away. Ash stepped into the waiting room. Telephones with video screens lined one wall. One of them was ringing. Ash found the phone that was ringing and flipped on the screen. Professor Oak's face appeared before him. "Ah, Ash, I was hoping you would have reached Viridian City by now," the professor said. "All of the other trainers from Pallet Town are there. I'm pleasantly surprised you got there so soon." Ash blushed. The professor continued. "In fact, when my grandson Gary said you wouldn't have had a new Pokemon by the time you got here, I bet him $1 million he'd be wrong." Ash turned bright red. Well, money isn't everything, right? "Oh, why do I even bother?" Professor Oak sighed. A bell rang. "Ash, I've got to go. My pizza's here." Very important. The screen went blank. "Aye, what a rotten day," Ash thought. "My Pokemon is hurt. Gary Oak beat me here. Professor Oak thinks I'm a loser. What else could go wrong?" Okay, let's all be honest. We all know that the pizza's not even there. It's actually Ash's mom. So Oak will have something to eat. "I knew I'd find you here." Ash rolled around at the sound of the angry voice. "It was Misty." She carried the burned bike on her shoulders. "You're gonna pay what you did to my bike," Misty fumed. Ash collapsed in a chair. It was all just too much. I'll make up for it when I can," Ash said. "But right now I gotta take care of my Pikachu." Misty's face softened. "Is it all right?" The emergency room doors swung open. Joy and the 2 Chansey Pokemon wheeled Pikachu on a stretcher. Pikachu had a metal strip wrapped around its head. A light bulb was attached to the strip. Wires connected the headgear to a metal pole on wheels. Ash rushed to Pikachu's side. "Are you all right?" he asked. Pikachu's eyes were closed. It didn't answer. "The procedure went well. Your Pikachu should be fine," Joy said. Ash breathed a sigh of relief. "Oh, thank you so much." Maybe things were finally looking up. Ash jumped as a loud siren blasted through the Pokemon Center. "Attention, Viridian City," blared a voice from the loudspeaker. "Our sensors have detected an aircraft belonging to a gang of Pokemon thieves." "Aye, what now?" Ash asked. A loud crash answered his question. Ash looked up. 2 Pokeballs crashed through the glass roof of the Pokemon Center. Clouds of thick, green smoke began to fill the waiting room. Ash choked. The foul-smelling smoke smelled like poison. They were under attack. This will be our last chapter for this evening, everybody. Chapter 6. Team Rocket blasts off. 2 Pokemon emerged from the green smoke. One looked like a purple cloud and floated in the air. The smoke was coming from its body. Coughing, it said in a deep voice. The other Pokemon slithered across the floor. It looked like a purple snake. Ekans, hissed the snake-like Pokemon. The smoke cleared, and a teenage boy and girl stepped into the waiting room. They wore black boots and white uniforms with the letter R on their shirts. Between them was a cat-like Pokemon. Who are they? Ash asked, coughing. Wait. Who are they? Ash asked, coughing. Allow us to introduce ourselves, said the boy. To protect the world from devastation, said the girl. To unite all peoples within our nation, said the boy. They're saying the thing. To denounce the evils of truth and love, said the girl. To extend our reach to the stars above, said the boy. Jesse, said the girl. James, said the boy. Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light, said Jesse. Surrender now or prepare to fight, said James. Meowth, that's right, chimed in the cat-like Pokemon. Ash looked at Joy and Misty. What are they talking about, he asked. We're here for the Pokemon, James demanded. Ash ran to Pikachu's side. You're not getting my Pikachu, he cried. Whoa. So just going to point this one out here. Canonically, according to this book, Jesse and James are teenagers. So get your minds out of the gutters. They're children. Well, teenagers, but pretty much the same. Ash then pulled out a goddamn Glock. No. That's a completely different episode. Jesse sneered. We're not interested in your precious electric rat. We seek only rare and valuable Pokemon, James said. Coughing. Attack. More green smoke poured from Coughing's body as the Pokemon charged towards them. Ash pushed Pikachu's stretcher and sped down the nearest hallway with Misty and Joy at his heels. In here, Joy cried, leading them through a door. Ash leaned against the door, breathless. Coughings and Ekans had lost their trail. They were safe. For now. Suddenly, the lights went out. They must have cut the power, Joy cried. But that's okay. We got our own Pika power source. Ash watched as small bolts of electricity crackled in the center of the room. The lights came back up. A group of Pikachu were running in place on a round platform in the center of the room. They were creating electricity. With the lights on, Ash saw that the room was filled with Pokeballs. They probably contained sick or injured Pokemon, Ash guessed. You think it's funnier if, like, 25-year-old Jesse and James are beefing with a 10-year-old? I had, like, always thought that they were, you know, like 20. Victim, that's a good point. That's probably why there are so many Phantom. Because a lot of children probably die when they start their Pokemon journey. Anyways, back to the story. Joy ran to a computer and turned it on. This is the Viridian City Pokemon Center. We have an emergency situation. Transporting Pokeballs. This is the Pewter City Pokemon Center, a voice replied. Ready to receive Pokeballs. At Joyce's command, a mechanical arm began lifting up the balls one by one and putting them on a conveyor. The belt led to a transportation device. As each ball hit the transport center, it was struck by a beam of light and then disappeared. Suddenly, coughing and Ekans crashed through the door, sending the Pokeballs flying. Team Rocket and Meowth were right behind. Misty looked angry. She picked up a Pokeball. This is war, she said. Ash understood. He picked up a ball and threw it at Ekans. Pokeball, go, he yelled. The Pokeball opened and Pidgey appeared in a blast of light. Ekans, hissed the snake Pokemon. Terrified, Pidgey flew back into the ball. I'll take care of these clowns, Misty told Ash. You take Pikachu and get out of here. Right, Ash said. He wasn't going to let Pikachu get hurt again, not this time. Ash pushed Pikachu down the hallway. Behind him, he could hear Team Rocket laughing. Whatever Misty was doing wasn't working. The smell of smoke burned his nostrils. Ash looked behind him. It was coughing and Ekans. They were closing in fast. There was no escape. That's the end of chapter 6. Do you guys want to finish the book? What do we got left? We only got we're halfway through. We're halfway through. Should we finish the rest of the book? Or should we leave it for another time? I think we leave it for next time. It was a good. We'll leave it on a cliffhanger. What happens next? What do you guys think? Yeah, we're gonna leave you on a cliffhanger. What's gonna happen next? So let's review, right? In this book, A Pokemon I Choose You, it seems like so far Ash has got his Pokemon. His Pokemon was Pikachu. They were attacked by Spearow. Pikachu died, but then actually came back to life, and Misty gave them a bike. And then Chimsy saved them. And then Jesse and James showed up, and everything went to shit. This is good writing.